Talk Real Estate with Sharon McNamara, sponsored by Boston Connect Real Estate Services.
Hi, I'm your host, Sharon McNamara, and you are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. Let me share a little bit about my background before we get started. I am the broker-owner of Boston Connect Real Estate, a boutique firm that is home to over 30 real estate sales and marketing agents who service home buyers and home sellers throughout Boston, the South Shore, the South Coast, and Cape Cod. Our firm takes pride in assisting our clients in the next chapter of their lives by taking a holistic approach to their real estate endeavors. We believe that every move should be a moving experience. Every week, my co-host Melissa Wallace and I will provide you with my team's unique marketing approach to selling homes and share with you our expertise in navigating the home buying process. We value the experience of our agents at Boston Connect Real Estate so much that not only will you hear my perspective on real estate topics, occasionally you will hear the expert thoughts and opinions of our experienced agents at Boston Connect Real Estate. Be a part of our roundtable. If you have any questions during the show, please call 781-837-4900. We love to talk real estate. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you like to listen to podcasts at Talk Real Estate Roundtable. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect with me at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate.
You are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. My name is Melissa Wallace, and I am joined by three people tonight. I feel so lucky and fortunate to have you guys with me. And so I have two people in studio with me and one via Zoom. But I am so proud to introduce the one and only Jess Page. You are a full-time realtor here at Boston Connect Real Estate. Say hi.
Hi.
You're a little nervous, I know, but it's okay. 45 minutes goes really quickly, okay? So, yeah, okay. And then I have half of Team Flynn here in the studio with me. Hello, Nick.
Hello.
Hi. And then your beautiful bride is on Zoom with us. Hi, Trish.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Couldn't stand to be in the room with me anymore.
Yes.
Well, listen, I don't know how you guys do it. You're in business together. You live together. You just every moment together, correct? Yeah.
Pretty much at this point.
Now you're doing the radio show together, but yes, in separate, even towns. Yeah. So I'm going to get us set up on Facebook, but I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to introduce yourselves to all of our listeners. Team Flynn, you have been on our show before, so I am going to allow Jess Page to go first. So just introduce yourself to all of our listeners, the areas that you service, how long you've been in the business, anything you want to share.
Hi, I'm Jess Page. I have been selling real estate for almost 8 years now, actually, since I had my first son, Matthew, who is 7 now.
I can't believe he's 7.
I know.
Oh, my
so
gosh.
I have 3 boys, 7, 5, and 2.5. It's insane, but it's great. And I service all over the South Shore. I try to stay basically Quincy, Braintree, and South, just because I live local to Halifax.
Mm-hmm. Well, you grew up in Pembroke, too, correct?
Yes.
So, and you met your husband here in Pembroke?
Yep, and he's from Hanover, so I know that area very well, but I try to stay within like a 30-minute radius to my house.
Yeah. Well, in real estate, I feel like you get sort of that privilege and that you're like fortunate enough to be able to stay sort of hyper-local to where you either grew up or currently live. But yeah, you're from Pembroke, you currently live in Halifax, you own a home in Halifax, and you own a home in another state, which is the reason for our show tonight. But I will give Team Flynn the opportunity to reintroduce yourselves to all of our listeners in case they didn't catch your past show.
So we are Team Flynn. Trish, sorry, I'm stepping all of you already. But
that's a marriage.
We're Team Flynn, so we focus on the South Shore mostly. You know, we're from Hanson. We live in Bridgewater now. We've been in Bridgewater for about 13 years now, I want to say. Well entrenched in the community at this point between school and sports and coaching and all that kind of stuff. So know that town well, and we kind of focus like primarily Bridgewater, Pembroke, Hanson, Marshfield. We kind of like follow that corridor. But with the way of the market these days, clients have been taking us everywhere. So
That is true.
We're going as far as Concord and Groton and places like that. We just sold a house in Mendon, towns that I
had a
had never even visited prior to
Sometimes
this.
your paperwork comes across my desk, and I'm like, this is Massachusetts, right? We have a license in Massachusetts.
Our
Where are
attorney
these?
recently was like, what? Where do you keep taking me? I'm like, you don't have to go there. We do.
My first one this year was Mendon,
There
which
you
was
go,
my
see?
first in Mendon.
That's so funny. Oh, Mendon. Yeah, I don't even know where Mendon is. I know that, like, we're in the business and we're supposed to know.
There's a zoo out
every
there.
time.
It's fantastic.
They have a really
Oh,
good
yeah.
drive-in movie theater. Yep.
Oh, yes. Okay, now that you say that, it rings a bell. I haven't been to a drive-in movie theater in probably over 10 years, but I know that there's one in Mendon.
Yep.
Where Mendon is, I'm not quite sure. Trish, do you have anything you want to say about your team?
No, I think Nick covered it. No, it's yeah. We go everywhere our clients need us to go. We're happy to go. We just happy to work with them and help them find a great spot.
And I will say, so we had an office meeting today here at the office. We haven't had one in a couple months, but you guys did have sort of a sneak peek again in a town that where everyone was like, "Wait, where's that town?" So if you can talk about it, we can save a little time at the end of the show to talk about that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on. And I know this is a big step for you guys, but I appreciate you joining me. And we sort of came up with this topic because actually it was you guys, Team Flynn. You just are the most recent purchasers of a property sort of. Well, it is out of state. Some of our agents have properties in this state of Massachusetts that they use for Airbnb purposes, or they do short-term rentals. You guys just purchased a home out of state, and it sort of just popped into my head. I know I was talking about the radio show with Kristen Howlett, who's on the show a lot, and we were like, oh, we should have Team Flynn come on. And then you walked in, and I was like, Nick, do you want to be on the radio show? And then we just sort of snowballed from there. But we are going to be talking about short-term rental properties that are investment properties, really. So I don't know which one of you wants to start, but I'm just going to throw the question out there. Why did this sort of opportunity come into your head of why you wanted to sort of explore having an investment property for short-term rentals?
Well, me and my husband have been together 15 years now, married 11, and we've always thought real estate is really the only investment that is never going to not be a good investment. So a couple years ago, we were in New Hampshire and thought, wow, it would be really great if we didn't have to spend all this money to rent this place, or if we didn't have to get this little cabin for our 3 children that didn't fit. And then we had my mother-in-law with us. It was a nightmare. So I figured, let's start looking for our own. And lo and behold, we found our own. We're in Franconia, New Hampshire. We bought a house on a river. It was falling into said river, but it was a whirlwind.
Yeah.
But it is standing tall now.
Well,
I feel like Jess has every story already.
Jess, I know. Well, when we came up with the topic, I was like, we have to have Jess on. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you guys are just going to have to share your show with her. But yeah, so I called into the studio and talked to Rob Hacklow this morning and gave sort of a sneak peek of what we're going to be talking about. And one of the questions that we did discuss this morning was sort of why that area? Why the area that you chose? So I sort of assumed that you and your family went to that area and sort of frequented that area, probably spent a lot of money in that area renting, and you're like, why don't we just buy something and so we can be there for a couple weeks or a couple weekends in the year and then make our money back?
So actually,
No, I was wrong.
You were.
No,
I'm
I
sorry.
hate
I'm
being
sorry.
wrong.
I actually wanted to be a little bit farther south, and then this house, I told my husband, I said, I'm not buying anything unless it is on water. I want to wake up, I want to have coffee by the water, I want to sit by the water and have my glass of wine at night when I put the kids to bed. I want to be by the water. I don't have to pack them up and bring them somewhere. Blah, blah, blah. So I was looking for waterfront only, and this one kind of just popped up. one random, I think it was like a Tuesday night, and my husband wasn't even home, and I said, this is the one. He said, okay, and I said, sign here, honey. And
wow.
That was
How do you get one of those?
Yeah. Well, you're supposed to say, sign here, honey. That's illegal, I'm sorry. But long-term marriage. So then, the next morning I said, hey, you remember we bought a house last night, right? He said, yeah, it was red, right? I said, it was. So we bought it sight unseen, which...
Oh, I didn't realize you guys bought it sight unseen, which now makes sense for the renovations that you had to do after the fact.
I still would have bought it. I will say, Nicholas. I still would have bought it. I still would have bought it. It's in like the heart of Franconia. It's in the best location I could have found. I will never find a house closer to the river. Good things and bad things with that fact.
Okay.
But, I will never find one closer. So I love it. Franconia has been an awesome little town to be in. The people are great. So
okay.
I drive past your house to get to mine.
Oh, really?
And I love that area.
Yeah.
Every time we drive through, I'm like,
I
we're
love
always
that
hoping
area
that you guys
too.
are going to be there when we drive through, so we can stop and have an excuse to.
You can throw a beer to them.
Yeah. You need it because another hour up.
Yeah, exactly.
So how did you guys come across your house? Why that area?
It's funny. Well, like just taking one more step backwards. Like I've been trying to invest for years and years and years, and like just and some of the other agents in this office have shared some of the same stories, like Sam Horton and stuff, and Matt Mahoney, and just constantly talking to those guys about investments and what to do. And I've been reading all the books and everything since I was in my mid-20s, and here I am in my, I guess, early mid-40s. Is that a thing?
I thought you were asking me how old you were. I was like, oh, ask your wife.
I don't know what.
Or just your office manager.
I don't know what 42 counts as. So
I can tell you when your real estate license expires, but I can't tell you what your age is.
But yeah, so we've been just trying to search for the right type of investment for the longest time. And was it multifamilies? Was it single families? Was it what was it? And so when we all kind of first started this journey, like short-term rentals weren't even really a thing. I mean, like people were doing it on the Cape, they were doing it up north, but they were doing it direct, like Airbnb, VRBO weren't really much of a thing.
Yeah,
it's really come about in the past 5 years. Again, I had a million conversations with Matt Mahoney as he was starting to get going on.
I know. I tried to get him to be on the show, but he says he's so busy he can't.
In his property in Plymouth, and I was like, Plymouth? Why would you Airbnb in Plymouth? And then showed me the numbers and everything, and I really started to dive into it and got into a couple of different groups. One of them is called Host Camp with this guy Rob Amasolo, who's a Bigger Pockets guy. He's on the Bigger Pockets podcast.
Was he the one that spoke at one of Sam's investment meetups?
No, this guy's like
else?
National.
Okay.
But he actually had, I want to say he had Sam's guy as a guest. Yeah.
Nice.
So, just started drinking the Kool-Aid with all those guys. I was originally focused like southern New Hampshire into the Maine area. My pure focus originally was something in the mountains that was near a lake too. So I wanted ski and lake.
Is that for so you can use personally as well, or just you felt like that was a great investment for you guys? In
terms of investment, I was just like, let's capitalize on skiers and let's capitalize on people that want to enjoy a lake. So then you get ski summer, and then your slow season is maybe springtime, but people will still be up there in the fall.
I think that's a great way to think, because you're like, what's an area in New England where you can get the best of both worlds? So you have people who love to hike in hiking weather, and then you have people who love to ski in the wintertime. So people who love to ski aren't going to be there in the summer when there's no snow, but people who like to hike. So I think that's great.
And you get your leaf peepers, and that's your fall people.
I want to be a leaf peeper.
Yeah.
You get them.
You do.
Is it available?
It is.
It's funny for me, again, like focusing more, like I was kind of focused on like the Shawnee Peak area, like southern Maine and stuff like that. And then always kind of in the back of my head, I had this place, Jay Peak. And that was somewhere that I had always gone as a kid. My great aunt and uncle owned an inn in a little town called Montgomery Center. That's literally 5 minutes away from Jay Peak, and that's where we would go and spend our summers and stuff like that. So very familiar with the area. It's hard not to be. There's literally, at the time when we were going up there 30-plus years ago, there's nothing up there.
Really?
Now they have all kinds of, they have new ownership. It's like it's a conglomerate of different mountains that are all owned together, and they built up the mountain, spend millions and millions of dollars on there. There's an indoor water park. There's ice rinks.
So it's a desirable area for someone to go
so I was like,
vacation.
you know what? This makes sense to be, 5 minutes down the road on the same mountain with all these amenities. Yeah.
And I think that a benefit, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't own an investment property yet, but correct me if I'm wrong, it's also a great opportunity for you guys to be like, okay, like I would really love to enjoy this property at this time of the year, block it off, not, and you just...
That's the beauty.
I'm at that point now where I'm like, okay, well, if it's not rented, I'll go up, but let's pay for this foundation.
Awesome. Yeah. I know, I definitely want to get into that. We're trying to keep it a little positive in the beginning.
It's been great. The basement's brand new now, so it's great.
So I think that you guys also both had an advantage to being in the industry and sort of knowing the lingo, knowing sort of what to do, even though both in New Hampshire and Vermont, different states, sort of a little bit maybe different processes, but for the most part, I'm sure it was pretty similar. But for anybody who is not a real estate professional, what would you suggest, or what would you suggest to them to, be their first step into sort of exploring?
Honestly, first step, and I don't say this with many things, but find a realtor who either has a short-term rental themselves or is experienced in it. Whether it's hosting or just
and this is to identify a property.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, it's just a different animal, and I think I think it's important for the realtor to be able to kind of draw upon the experiences that they have with their own short-term rental, or for us, for instance, like, so if it was like me or Jess and someone wanted to buy something up north, we would be referring them to somebody. So if I'm referring them to somebody,
I want to make sure I'm referring them to somebody that knows what they're talking about. There's a lot of different things that go into these Airbnbs, too. It's like, how many people can you fit in a bedroom? Do you want to have that many people in a bedroom? What's your max amount of people? So, I mean, we got an Airbnb for Mary's bachelorette weekend, and it was a 3-bedroom, but there were essentially 11 girls. So me in my head, I'm like calculating, okay, how many people can you fit in one room? Does anyone have to sleep on the couch? So I mean, guys trips, guys. Like, then there's the couples who's the kids. You gotta take all into account.
That is true.
And it's one of those things where I was like, do I have to account for this? But then I do feel obligated to be like, hey, based on the people you're telling me are going to be there, I just want to make sure
maybe
you have beds.
So what do you say? Like, it comfortably fits X amount of people, or you just say, like, here's the amount of beds, figure out how many people you can fit
that's
in
where
here.
you start.
Like, sometimes it's almost like better to have more twin beds than queen beds, because it's like, oh, well, you can fit 2 in there, but if it's sometimes like these guys don't want to do that. But
that's it. Oh, what guys? Oh, guys don't want to be in a twin bed. Hey, we were for Mary's bachelorette. We had 2 twin beds and 2 trundles in one bedroom. So, but we had our own bathroom, so we could fit 4 girls in our room, and it was fine. But okay. So your first step, and I feel like the first step should be to sort of talk to somebody who's in that realm. Like if you're looking for an investment property for a short-term rental, and I have to say it slow because I will mess up the words, a short-term rental property. I think that's a great idea to find, an agent who can also sort of give you tips of like, and this is just based off of the knowledge from going to one of Sam's meetups where the guy was like, oh, people in this area are really looking for hot tubs. And in my head, I was like, I would do anything not to be in a hot tub. Like, hot tubs are just not my thing.
Like, I get bookings because
but he was like, invest in a hot tub and you'll get X amount of dollars more every night. And it's true. I don't know why. I don't know I don't want to be in a hot tub.
Fall nights, winter nights. It's snowing up in New Hampshire. People want to get out and can't. There's no outdoor living in New Hampshire unless you're skiing. So
I'm surprised Trish has not chimed in on that. Big hot tub person.
You're a big hot tub person.
I can't see that.
Hot tubs.
Really?
I
feel like I feel like a lobster boiling in like a lobster pot. Like I don't know. Maybe I just run really hot. I can't sit in one. I have a heat stroke.
I fully enjoy it. Relax. Oh, it's great.
Especially in the winter.
But I thought it was interesting that he had said that, like, okay, in these like ski area places, invest in a hot tub, and I promise you'll get more a night. And you feel that?
Yep.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Do you guys
feeling
have a hot tub
no,
in yours?
We don't, and that's when we're feeling it. Yeah,
Okay.
because
We're
people,
feeling
they want to come back after skiing and
Yeah.
They're
relax.
cold.
Like
Their
you said.
toes
I don't even know how much
Even
a hot tub
sore?
is, but maybe
They want to get boiled.
Yeah, no. I mean, no, I don't want to feel like a lobster. But yeah, laugh at me all you want. Hot
No,
tub
I
lover.
agree.
I like it. I am too. I love them.
You like it? Oh, you guys
I
are
want one
weird.
I want one for my Halifax.
You guys are weird. You have a pool in your house.
It's cold.
Okay, get a heater. Anyways, okay, yeah. So I think that that's a great tip to find maybe an agent.
I'd say the lender as well too. Actually,
Yeah.
My lender owns an Airbnb, and
good.
he owned one actually before Matt did. And he
Did
owns
you
one
use
in
your
Vermont.
same lender that you use here?
Yep.
Because
Yep.
he's licensed in New Hampshire.
Vermont and New Hampshire, yeah.
Yep.
And Maine. So I used him, and it was great. He could kind of like
That's awesome.
he like led me through it, what I should put down, shouldn't put down, that kind of stuff too. Is like, oh, you might need extra money for the issues, you know.
Yeah, like checking on permits.
Yeah.
For the
Yep.
one that he bought. Yeah.
So I'm curious. I'm curious. How many properties did you look at before purchasing this one? I know you didn't even look at the one that you purchased, but
I did have a realtor preview a lot of them. They just weren't like either close enough to the water or they were just too small. I couldn't, my family really fitting in there and it not really working for us. And there was a lot of properties up there like on lakes you wouldn't think about. They don't actually have heat and they winterize them, so you can't.
the
get
houses don't have heat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
They have like just wood stoves, some of them, or they're just winterized.
It's like
and
a
you don't use
cabin
them
in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, exactly.
It's honestly amazing. Like a lot
I
of
had
these.
no idea all that was up there.
Oh, like and I don't know how your property is, but like mine doesn't have like a central heating system, like a furnace or
Does
a
it?
boiler or anything. It's just like these propane heaters throughout the house, and I'm like, how was heating an afterthought in this place? It's literally negative 25,
Yeah.
like 6 months out of the year.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh, well, is that something that you have to
No, it's
figure
fine.
out?
I mean, they figured it out years ago, but it's
Okay.
not like like a central heating system. You
so
know,
weird.
It's,
Yeah.
it's like propane. It's almost like the first version of split units, but
Mine
Yeah.
has
An
one,
older
and it's
version
like
of
they're
that.
like, "Oh, this is a big house. We're gonna the biggest unit we can put in
that's
there."
good.
Yeah.
But it's too big. So my HVAC guy was like, "This is really big. I need to like do everything." And I'm like, "Awesome."
Redo everything. All right, so you guys sort
now
of
it's warm.
You told us why you wanted to have an investment property and sort of do a short-term rental for it. So it was a dream. You figured it out. You made it work. What sort of happened after closing? And I'm looking at you. So what?
Should we define short-term rental
Yeah,
before you
go ahead.
dive into your
Yeah.
craziness?
What is a short-term rental?
Short-term rental will be anything under 30 days.
Okay.
So anything in for the audience, like sometimes that's as realtors and stuff, we kind of get the nuances and things like that. But like short-term rental, anything under 30 days. So anything beyond 30 days, now you've got to get into a different type of being a landlord. So now
Some
you've got to
states
get
You have to have a
require
lease.
paperwork.
you have to have
to release.
paperwork. You've got to abide by lead laws. Like there's there's a lot of different things. You're going to have, whether it's written or not written, you're going to have some type of lease, and then the tenant's going to have certain rights.
Yeah.
When it's a short-term lease, very different.
Yeah.
They are guests there, and if need be, Jess or I could call the police and say, hey, this person's in my house and they're trespassing.
Yeah.
Not the case when
Yeah.
you're doing a medium long-term rental.
Yeah.
So just to
Yep.
clarify before.
Yep. Well, because that leads to the point too, where I had last winter. It was like we kept losing power, and I was like nervous I was going to run out of oil. So then this year, I actually looked into a lot of people up at Cannon Mountain, which is the closest mountain to me. They want winter rentals, and it's a family that basically goes up there and they do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, come home Sunday, and then they go up again and again and again until like basically from Christmas until March.
Nice.
So I had to work on that, which then led me to have the attorney drop a whole new lease because it's so much longer.
Yeah.
So my short-term rental turned into a medium rental for just a couple months, but it also helps with costs because now they're
It
paying
does,
for
yeah.
the oil, they're paying for the electricity, and they're also paying for some of the plowing, which,
That's great.
yeah, you'd never know in Hampshire. This year was easy. Last year,
Yeah. I think I had mentioned this on the show. I personally looked at a condo to purchase, and they had like a special assessment, and it was for snow removal. And I said, from what year? Because we haven't really had any snow. I'm sorry, what?
2015?
Like 2015?
Yeah,
like,
really?
Yeah, I was like, they didn't have an answer for me, and I was like, well, what is it really for? Because we have not had snow. Please come up with something that's a little bit better that no one will question. But yeah, I would imagine that there hopefully is a lot of snow where you guys are, because you guys are sort of banking on it. But yes, thank you for that. So a short-term rental, and there, like you said, there's not just Airbnb. There's a bunch of other different. What's that, VRBO? Or something?
Yeah,
VRBO. Yeah, and also I'll give you guys an opportunity to sort of plug your properties as well and see where people can find them. But yes, so it's all fun. It's all fun and games. You found the house, everything. What are some of the unexpected things that might come up when purchasing an investment property like that, especially out of state?
Do you want me to start on this?
I would love for you to start.
Are you sure?
Yes.
So we bought it sight unseen, as you've already heard.
Yes. So no home inspection. You know what we say on this show.
Which is very cool. It's apparently a speakeasy in the 20s. Which
Oh,
is
I love
really,
that.
Yeah, it's really cool. So they had all these crazy lights and stuff with all these switches.
Cool.
But then they had a lot of crazy wiring as well.
Trap doors.
Could have had
secret
crazy
rooms,
fire.
They had
anything.
like a red light and a green light.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. But also, the people that have owned it before just never took care of it. It was falling into the river, and I say that in the nicest way ever. It was like a banana. It was really just like falling into the river. So I had to find one company, which I did, to lift up the home completely and do a whole new foundation, which is a completely unexpected cost. And then with all of that, it just kept going up, because that was when the lumber prices and everything else was going up. So that was really fun. But as soon as that was done, now we have a brand new basement.
Yeah.
With new HVAC, which was also a thing, but it's okay. But now we've got a nice clean basement you can walk into and stand in, and it's one level, and walk out towards the hot tub, which you couldn't get to without going to the main road before in a bathing suit. So that's it's a plus to have the basement door now.
Yeah.
So, and all new windows at the Pretty River.
So had you seen the house, had you noticed that it was falling into the river, had you known that you needed a new foundation and HVAC and everything, would you have purchased the house still?
Probably. I can't say yes for sure. But yes, I mean, we didn't back out. We could have backed out. We didn't, because we did go up in between. We did tell them we weren't going to back out, but I mean, it's pretty scary to walk in.
Did the realtor notice that it was falling
She didn't
in?
go either. I saw.
I'm sorry. So who saw it besides
So,
God?
Nobody. Nobody. So this was something that came.
Where did you find this, on Craigslist?
I was sitting there. Listen.
Did you have a couple beers too, and then you went to Matt and were like,
maybe a glass of wine. I was sitting on my computer and I was looking for something. I needed to get away. It was one of those days I just needed a vacation. I told you I have 3 boys.
Yeah.
So I'm looking and I'm like, this house is it. I called my realtor. It was like 8 o'clock at night. I said, this is the one that I want. She called their realtor. Didn't get them until the next morning, and she said offers need to be in.
Yeah.
Like ASAP.
Had it just gone on the market?
It had already gone through like open houses and stuff, and they had already had like 20-something people through the open house.
But
and
no
they
offers?
already had a few offers.
Okay.
So I think I got the house because of my love letter, which works every once in a while.
That is so interesting to me that they had multiple offers and they chose somebody out of state who hadn't seen the property.
Because I didn't do a home
Because
inspection.
you didn't do a home
Sometimes
inspection.
it'll get it for you. And hey, I mean,
And they knew that you didn't know it was falling into the river.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
From the picture, you can kind of
You
tell.
could see that
now
it's a
that you're
banana?
Looking, you can kind of tell. It's a 1920s house. You can tell from the pictures. It's like slopey. You could tell it needed some work. Not a big deal with what I thought the work was. I wasn't thinking it was going to be like jack the house up, put some blocks on it, and then have bears walk under the house and do all this crazy stuff. But
Did bears walk underneath your house?
Oh yeah, I have some. I actually, when they were evening out all the dirt before they poured the concrete for the basement, there was deer marks like all through. Yeah.
If there were like bear
Had to
paw
read-
prints or whatever, I would have taken pictures and like framed it.
Yeah.
And like put it inside the house and been like,
Yeah.
oh, there's a bear underneath this house. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, before the house was actually jacked up and the front deck was ripped off, there was bears. A mom and 3 cubs walked directly onto my front steps, which I thought was so cool. And I'm
That's
like,
so
I'm so
cool.
glad I wasn't there because my cameras wouldn't have been on.
Your mom and 3 cubs. You and your 3
go.
boys.
Yeah.
It's a sign.
It's
Fix
a
the
sign.
house.
All right, it was
Yep.
worth it. It
Yep.
was worth it.
It's turning out to be worth it. I don't know.
It's turning
Just
out to be
headaches,
worth
but
That's good.
It's going.
Yeah.
It's going. Yeah.
But now you have somebody who's staying there for an extended period of time, and
Yep,
you know,
starting Christmas.
nice. What about for you guys?
We're very, very, very new in the
Yeah,
process. I
yeah.
mean, it's weird. It feels so long. We got an offer accepted in March. They wanted an extended closing. That's fine. It was through the slow season anyway, so we actually closed mid-July, and then have just been working on the place since then, and just put it on the market, or
Yeah.
put it on Airbnb, put it on VRBO.
I feel like that's a
on-
quick turnaround time.
Yeah.
I also don't know what you. So my follow-up question would be, what did you? I know what you did to get your house ready. What did you guys do after closing to get your house ready for putting it on Airbnb or any other website?
Yeah, so ours was pretty much ready to go. I mean, it's built in the '60s, but the people had kept it well maintained. I mean, the bathrooms are
It looks so
slightly
cool.
outdated and stuff. So
I've seen the pictures. It looks so cool.
I appreciate
I know. I even thought to myself, I was like, can I go skiing? I don't know how to ski, but can I go skiing this winter? Because I want to stay here.
It's funny
Maybe
though.
we
There's
could
so much
trade.
else to do there
Yeah,
too,
I know.
besides just skiing. So it's a really cool place to hang out
Yeah,
and
I might be booking it.
it's and again even again that indoor water park is neat because there's like a bar there and stuff, and it's like 85 degrees.
Yeah, catch me at
and
the
it's
bar.
-5 outside, and you're like cruising through a lazy river, and you're looking outside, and there's just snow dumping everywhere, and you're like, this is weird. Like I'm 85 degrees going through a lazy river.
Yeah.
So cool.
In it, yeah. So. But yeah, we didn't. I mean, we had a lot of just cosmetic stuff to do, painting, things like that. Just your general stuff.
prettying up
To
stuff,
get
Yeah.
ready, decorations and But yeah, so we put on the market on Friday, and as of throughout the weekend, we got 7 bookings already.
That's
so yeah,
awesome. I
I'm
love that.
optimistic. Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll have to go on there and make
I will
sure my
say,
weekend's
I
available.
looked yours up. I typed in like random 5 people on a random
Yep.
weekend, and yours was the first one to come up.
Okay.
in
That's
Airbnb.
awesome.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
pumped.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
That's awesome. I
obviously.
love that.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
And
you.
we'll be sure to tell everybody where to find both of your properties. But I also think that it's important to sort of say that, yes, your stuff was structural, and that no matter if it was a house that you're going to live in full time or a house that you're going to do short-term rentals, anybody living in it, those things were going to have to be done.
I
no
couldn't
matter
have
what.
lived with myself if something
You
had
could-
happened. Like
yeah.
a window
Right.
could have broken, a child could have literally rolled and fallen out.
Rolled into the river.
It could have been my
Yeah.
2-year-old was playing fetch with himself in the kitchen, just rolling a truck down and the
Yeah.
ball down and then going to
Those
get it
are
and bring
those
it
are
back
things
up.
that would have been done had to have been done no matter what, if you were living there full time or part time or whatever. Yours sounds like cosmetic,
Yeah.
but we talk about this on the show a lot when we do shows should you or shouldn't you do these things if you're gonna sell, and I feel like it's sort of the same mindset. Like, would you completely redo your entire kitchen if you're gonna sell your house? No, because you wouldn't enjoy it. Would you do your kitchen completely over in a rental like that, like a short-term rental, when do people really care? As long as it's functional and it works and maybe doesn't look absolutely horrible, it could be dated, but it's fine, right?
That's next for me, but I'm not doing a new kitchen as a contractor. I need one that's 10 years old.
Yeah.
I'll take that one.
Yeah.
Put that in there.
So I feel like it's important to say that you just because you buy an investment property doesn't mean you have to dump all of this money into it. There are things that you can do cosmetically that will sort of you might get a couple more bucks every night. You know,
It's even the little things, like the cosmetic things, like the little throw pillows.
Yeah.
I noticed we have the same ones on our bed.
Oh, do we really? Which ones?
Yeah, the bears.
Oh, I love
They're
the
so
bears.
cute. So we have the Eddie Bauer bears.
Yeah.
They're so cute. So
That's
we
cute.
have the
And
same
then
ones.
the-
Me
Don't
and
let Nick
Trish.
fool you guys. He designed everything.
Me and Trish
You
were talking
did?
about it.
I only gave Trish one room. Listen, you can take one
Trish,
room. I got the
what's
rest.
your room? What's Trish's room?
Mine is the fallish
autumn
queen room.
Okay.
The autumn room. We call
Okay.
it the autumn room.
I like that name.
No, hold on. You got 2 rooms. You got the bunk room too, and that one came
Oh,
up
yeah,
really
I
Oh,
good.
the
like the
bunk
bunk.
room. Yeah,
Oh,
the
that
one with the
one's
bunk beds.
cute.
Yeah, I like that. Like
They
I
all
said,
came
I'm
up just
planning on
the
renting it
end.
just for myself. I'm
Yeah.
inviting nobody, and I'm just
And you
gonna
don't even like hot
just
tubs, so
just
it's
gonna
good.
walk around town by myself and find things to do. Yeah,
It does look so cute.
It is. It's cute.
So one of the things that came out of Sam's meeting there was we have a 3-car garage on that
Wow.
property, and I'm like,
It's yours?
Yeah, and I'm like, why?
That's awesome.
Is it detached?
It's detached, yeah. And I'm like, why would you ever need a 3-car garage and an Airbnb? So I'm like, I'd love to make this into like some type of like game
Can you
room,
have like
recreation
ATVs?
room.
That's a...
Maybe that's a
Such
liability.
a liability, yeah.
But you
I'm
could
like,
keep
if we
yours
could-
up there.
Yeah, we could. So we could keep ours in one,
Keep
and
one
our
bay.
intention's to keep one bay for ourselves, almost
Yeah.
like an owner's closet
Yeah.
situation, and then eventually try to make that 2-car garage
Yeah.
area into like just a game room. You
Yeah.
know, like
wonder
a
if you
bar
can
and
rent
game
them out,
room.
really
too.
look for that, too.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe we can put our hot tub.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, there is a
sassy.
drain.
But don't you want to have it outside? Isn't that the point?
You can open the garage door, be indoor, outdoor.
Ooh, there
That's
you go.
actually
Exactly.
great. I
Wow.
love that idea. Yeah, good thing we did this.
Good thing we did this show. Now we're
But
good.
also, I will say, people love, like, I got a dartboard. One of my friends gave us a dartboard, and I put it up there just because I was like, oh, why not? And
You
we
know,
put it,
yeah.
I'm not even, like, joking, on a piece of plywood that we just had left over because we were like, at the end, we were like, oh, somebody's coming next weekend. We have to have it ready. And people have messaged me,
Yeah.
I love the dartboard. And I'm like,
Well,
thanks.
yeah, I think that's I
something to do.
love how we're snowballing this because you think about people who really want to do Airbnbs in those areas. So it's families, and I don't know what it's like to have small kids, but I would imagine that you have to entertain them all the time, and maybe you don't want to spend a ton of money because you're already spending money to stay somewhere. So
a
why
cheap
not
foosball
utilize the
table,
space?
a
Yeah,
dartboard,
and
yeah.
also like bachelorette parties, like
Right.
you go out to the garage, have a couple drinks, throw some darts, play some pool,
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whatever they do on Bachelor weekend.
That's what they do. That's definitely do.
Yeah.
You're right.
The best
I don't want to
behaved.
think about the
I know.
bachelor and bachelorette
I know. As soon
parties.
as I
Like,
said
yeah,
it,
those
I
are
was
never
like-
happening in my house.
Yeah. As soon as I said that, I was like,
my
you
husband's
probably
been
don't
like-
want those at your house.
My husband has had all of us here. There's been 5 bachelor parties, and we're good with having
I'm
all
not.
those. at
I'm
my
not
house.
envious of those.
Yeah.
So we only have about 8 minutes left. So I do want to, sort of wrap it up a little bit, but also give you guys an opportunity to give your contact information out again and give your information of where you can find your Airbnbs. But any sort of things that we didn't go over, I mean, I told you 45 minutes goes pretty fast when we're all just talking. Anything we didn't touch upon or that you think is important when people are either thinking or currently have. I know, like, I wouldn't even know what to price my house at, like, a night. Like, how'd you come up with that?
So the guy before us actually had Airbnb'd it, and obviously the house is falling into the river. So I'm like, okay, he's getting this amount of money.
Yeah, you feel like you might get a little bit more.
I could get, but I also felt a little greedy. So I went lower, knowing that the house is still not 100%. We're still doing construction on it. It still needs siding on one of the sides, and it still needs like a gutter, like silly little things, and the outside doesn't look perfect. So I'm like, all right, I'll do it lower until we can get some people in there and some good reviews to get people in there. And so I ended up looking at some comparable things around and went based off that.
How did you guys come up with the price?
Similar. We, like one of the big things that I've looked into is this website called Price Labs, and Price Labs will literally like set the price for you based on the comps, and it'll literally give you dynamic pricing and change it and all that stuff. It's a monthly rate. It's a little bit steep, so it would have to make sense for us to do it. So we haven't done that yet, but what we did was just go on, look at other properties that were similar, same thing, and same school of thought. Like, we're just coming out of the gate. Pricing needs to be a little bit lower to get people in there, to get some good reviews, and I think once we get a little bit of traction, we can get up our property up to the same prices of the other homes in the
The
area.
funny thing I found, though, and I've heard this from a couple people that have Airbnbs, is that people aren't always looking for the cheap one either. So you have to find that middle ground. So
Yeah.
they want like a cheap one. Yeah, sure. They want to save a little bit of money and bring up their family for a weekend or whatever. But also they don't want the most expensive one, but they don't want the cheapest one because they figure there's something wrong
Yeah,
with
there's
it. So you
something
have
wrong
to
with it,
find
yeah.
that middle ground.
Yeah.
So that was kind of tough. And Airbnb allows you to kind of play around with it. I filled up all of July by somebody booked a weekend, then somebody booked the next weekend. So Monday to Thursday, I made it super cheap. So I'd rather somebody go up there. And then on top of that, my cleaner is making money too, which helps her, helps me. It all, we help each other in that way.
So cleaner, sorry, and this could be like a whole topic that we could do 45 minutes on, and I'm new to this, but I'm like, I feel like for the longest time, like Airbnb hosts were making a little bit of money off of their cleaners, and then cleaners kind of like got wise to that, and now the prices are astronomical
cleaning fee
for cleaners, and I'm like, I have to rent this place, and it has
Yeah.
to be a fair, reasonable price. Your cleaning fee can't be more than what I'm renting it for.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, but these cleaners are just really taking advantage of it right now, and
I interviewed 8.
wow.
Is it because they have to be there so frequently,
It's
or
tough. It's not an easy job. I get it,
It's
but
a
at the
quick
same
turnover.
time,
It's a lot of changing of sheets.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that just takes a lot of time. Think about when you
Yeah.
just change your own sheets. It's when you're like sweating by the end of the time you get to the other side.
I'm sweating just sitting in this
Right.
chair.
So
It's
then,
hot
like,
in here.
The cleaner is like, oh, we have to change after 11 people, and that's
yeah.
like, what, 6
Yeah, it's a
beds,
lot.
so-
But you know what? You're cleaning an entire house. Isn't
Yeah.
that what you get hired to clean
Right.
the house?
But it's
So
what they want
I was
for.
surprised that, I was looking at like prices down in this area, and then to see prices up kind of in
Mm-hmm.
a remote area to be literally like more than double. I'm like,
yeah,
whoa, I
I'm
was
curious.
not expecting
I'm
that.
curious if it's because they know that they can charge
Yeah.
that because of how many people, or if it's because they don't have a lot of business and they have to charge that.
Could be.
Be curious to know.
Could be.
Yeah.
If anybody knows, let me know.
I mean,
I've told my cleaner too that I have a checkout at 4. I mean, to check out at 11 and check in at 4. And if she if she ever has to be there between 11 and 4 and get the turnover, I basically was like, I'm going to add a lot of money on there for you to just get it done because I know it's
Yeah.
going to be worth it for me. It's going to be worth it for you.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And
Yeah.
she'll get there.
A
and
lot
she'll
of
get
them
it done.
do all this extra stuff, and they almost become like a property manager for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great, and,
Yeah.
and you pay for that all day long.
So how did you find your cleaner?
We same thing. We did a lot of like research in the area. I asked a bunch of questions to our realtor that was up
Yeah.
there, and then I actually found another Airbnb host from a class that I had done and a Facebook group that we were part of, and he
Yeah.
uses the same cleaner and has good results.
Yeah.
You pay for it. There's no
Yeah.
doubt, But the way I look at it is like it's kind of like saying earlier to some people, I'm always like willing to pay a fair price for somebody, but I kind of give you like the here's like your leeway price. Here's like your I'm going to be a little bit more on top of your price. Here's like the now you're feeder to the fire price, and then like now you're in the fire
Yeah.
price.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of at like that. You're in the fire price.
cleaner.
You have this better be perfect.
You have
Your cleaner is your eyes. Like she's in
Yeah.
there after. I had a person that rented left the basement door completely open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And she's
she
the
wanted
one
to
that discovers it.
You
and
have
fixes
to-
it.
She
Yeah.
found it, and
Yep.
she also like I also felt bad for her. I'm like feeling probably like unsettled, thinking who could be in there.
Well, you have to sort of have people again like eyes on the property that you trust, and I think that that's great that you guys sort of did the research to find it. We only have less than 3 minutes left of the show, so I want to give you guys an opportunity to give your contact information again and where people can find your Airbnbs or your short term. I don't want to keep saying Airbnb because it's not just on Airbnb. So where can they find your short term rentals? Jess Page, you're going to go first.
Mine is on it's on Airbnb and it's on VRBO.
What's the address?
664 Main Street in Franconia. I don't know if you can actually find it that way though through Airbnb.
Yeah, I was
so
going to say. You
I've never
can't
used
find by
Airbnb.
address.
can I
Oh.
put my number?
Yeah,
My cell phone?
yeah.
So
No,
if
I
you'd
want you to
rather
give your contact
if you'd
information so
rather
everybody
go
can
not
contact
through
you.
Airbnb, or I can direct you a direct link through Airbnb. My number is 617-966-0057. And
Again.
you can 617-966-0057. And you can message me and we can either work something out, or if you feel better about having like the Airbnb
Behind it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
behind it, then that's also fine with me.
Perfect. Team Flynn.
So our Airbnb is called Edelweiss Haven. There's a backstory to that, but we don't have time for that. But so if you went to like J Peak Resort, you type that into Airbnb or VRBO, or you typed in just J Stays or something like that, you'd get Edelweiss Haven. That's our house.
And how can people get in touch with you guys directly?
So we are 781-223-3286 or Team Flynn at Boston Connect.
Give your number one more time.
781-223-3286.
And you can go to bostonconnect.com to find all of their contact information. You can listen to all of our past shows on talkrealestateroundtable.com, or you can go to your podcast app and type in Talk Real Estate Roundtable. And I think that Team Flynn and Jess Page should come back in the wintertime and continue this discussion, because you guys have great houses to rent in the winter all year round, really. So I want you guys to highlight again. Thanks for joining us via Zoom, Trish, half a Team Flynn. And then thank you guys for coming into the studio. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Take care.